Okay, showtime.
I think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Greetings, children of the screen. Your friendly neighborhood nerd scum here once again, and I am joined by
Logan.
Welcome to episode 6 of Carry That Weight, where we're going to be taking a look at Session 6, Sympathy for the Devil. Right on, guys. So in Session 6, Sympathy for the Devil, basically we start off with a weird series of, like, crazy lab experiment flashbacks, and then, like, we get pulled through a robotic eye, which takes us into the real world in, like, a smoky blues club, where Spike and Jet are there looking for a giraffe? Giraffe, yeah, looking for Giraffe, who is their newest bounty.
Yeah, just doing bounty hunter shit.
Yeah, and Spike had fallen asleep against the wall and was having a horrible flashback. So then basically, like, they find the guy that they're going after, but as they're about to chase him, they see that there's another bounty hunter there who's after the same guy. It's someone that Jet knows, so he plays nice a little bit to try to distract him, but sure enough, like, their bounty takes off following after this little boy who had been playing harmonica and his father figure who's in a wheelchair. So yeah, like, and they're a little bit of ways away. Eventually, whenever our characters catch up to him, when Spike catches up to him, frickin' Giraffe is been shot and is falling out of a frickin' window.
Spike, like, pilots over and catches him.
Yeah, just kind of like the same way he did with Ein. Like, just picks him up and takes him over there and is like, oh, fuck, this guy's gonna die.
Great. You die and I lose the reward. Don't be fooled by him. By the way he looks. Don't talk! Try to stay alive! Not me. He needs help now. Help him.
And, you know, like, gives him this ring with a really shitty looking pink crystal on it, and he's just like, not me! Save him! Don't believe, don't trust the way he looks. Ah. And then from that point on, we're pushed into, again, kind of a classic setup from, like, noir archetypal storytelling, where, yeah, they're just kind of trying to figure out, like, well, if this guy in the wheelchair shot and killed our bounty, then, like, he wants us to save the kid, so, like, we need to save the kid, and then, like, yeah, things just are not what they seem. So, in general, what do you think about this episode?
It's pretty cool. Like, I've thoroughly enjoyed the ride so far. So, I mean, you know, but, as always, it just, I don't want to, like, lead into, like, my favorite thing.
Right.
But, like, they just keep throwing you little, like, nips of, like, towards the characters. Like, just little bait for the characters. There's all, like, still character development as we go.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's all, like, amazing. Just in general.
Everything we get for everybody. There are a lot of different, like, layers of... Again, like, that's just the way Cowboy Bebop works.
Yeah.
Where, like, we almost never get a thorough backstory, especially on Spike. With both Faye and Jet, we get something a little closer later on down the line. But Spike's is very much given to us in, like, piecemeal basis as we go throughout the series. So this opening gives us a little bit more about him. And then also, we get to kind of, once again, see Jet as, like, the crazy chameleon that he is.
Yeah.
Where, like,
yeah.
we've kind of seen through the series that no matter
Yeah.
where he goes, he kind of finds a way to fit in, and also, like, the way he talks changes.
Yeah, I thought it, like, I asked you, I was like, is that a different voice actor?
I was
like,
like,
already?
No, yeah. And I was like, no, he's in a blues club, and, like, he's picked up the vibe the same way that, like, in some episodes when he's with, like, more high society, you'll find him talking in a much more, like, rigid and regal way than he normally would. It still sounds like Jet, but just he's kind of blended himself into, like, the vibe or the tone of the room. Same way, like, his outfit often, like, here he's on the job, even though they're in a blues club, so he's still wearing his on-the-job clothes. But, like, we see in other episodes, like, when they go someplace nice, like, Jet's got some nice shit. Like,
Hell
he's
yeah.
a fucking pimp,
This
yo.
guy's dope.
Like, he's got his little Panama hat and, like, boom, 3-piece suit and shit. Like, yeah. So, again, like, we get more little pieces of that. And, yeah, I really enjoy this episode. Like, it, in my opinion, is one of the more underrated of the episodes.
Yeah.
I think it throws some people off from the more, like, the more heavy sci-fi elements in it.
Yes.
Where this is definitely more of a science fiction story that has, like, a noir tone to it and like a noir blend in it. But, like, the others, they take place in space or on spaceships and stuff, but they don't feel sci-fi. You know what I mean?
I see what you mean.
There's no, like, aliens or
Yes.
like crazy sci-fi concepts
Yeah.
like that. And this episode has a few of them.
And they mentioned teleportals.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, really, like, with that whole thing, basically, it's the same system that they now use, like the
Yeah,
gates. It was
right.
just an earlier iteration of that.
I just, like, instantly was like, oh, Stargate.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like,
pretty
straight
much.
up.
Yeah.
Just a room with a giant gate in it that's, you know, explosive, can
Yeah.
blow up.
And again, we're never given the whole backstory
Right.
there, which I really like, because it's just like, it's number one, it's not actually important, and number two, it happened long enough ago that, like, to a lot of the younger characters we deal with, that's just the world they've always lived in. So, like,
yeah, as far as they're concerned.
yeah, it's like, ask a person in their 20s, like, when Pearl Harbor was, and I bet they couldn't tell you, you know? Or ask them, like, what happened, like, just tell me a narrative of Pearl Harbor. Most people today who are younger don't fucking know. So it makes sense in this world that, like, we never get a full, thorough, complete story as to what happened.
Yeah, because we don't have a narrator.
Yeah.
Like, we just have people's perceptions.
Absolutely.
and
So it does
memories.
just kind of throw us into that world, and that's really awesome. And as I've said in all the previous videos, and will continue to say, like, this show's biggest strength is the way that it places layers upon layers upon layers upon layers, and never stops developing the characters or the world.
So it feels fresh every episode.
Every episode, even whenever you're doing a very archetypal format of, like, villain of the week storytelling.
Yeah, and which also helps with, like, just jumping in points.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
When you go right into an episode and you're like, okay, well, this guy's, like, a skilled person with a gun,
Yeah.
you know, and the other, it's like, okay, that's the tech guy. This is the chick that's a mooch that just kind of there, this episode at least.
3 million Wulong reward. Well, I'll just have the boys get it for me then.
And then, like, yeah, like, you kind of get a feel of who these people are without ever,
Right.
you know.
We also got, like, our first little taste of, like, Jet doesn't really trust women very much.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of a funny
Because, like,
like, offhand comment.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
because he's actually been way more even with Faye than, like, Spike has or stuff like that. But, like, in this episode, we finally start getting a little bit of that coming out, which will definitely be addressed further in future episodes. So, yeah, it's a good, solid episode.
Yeah, solid.
So, what would you say is your favorite thing out of Sympathy for the Devil?
I guess it's kind of up to, like, two things, because I don't want to try and repeat, because I know there's going to be some repeating positive things, like the pacing.
Yeah.
Freaking solid. 30 minutes
Yeah.
these episodes are, and it fucking doesn't ever feel like
No,
it at
just
all.
like that.
And, but the music in this one, it's just
God, yeah.
dope.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I've appreciated it, but, like, never to the point where I'm like, that needs to be talked about. Like,
Yeah.
that's a very, like, the harmonica,
Well, and-
super cool with the jazz, like, blues.
Yeah.
You know.
In this one, there's a lot more blues mixed in, but
Yeah.
that was the other thing that was cool. A bunch of the songs we hear in this episode are things we've already heard before, just done with, like, a
Yeah.
harmonica or done in a blues style.
Right, okay,
Like,
makes
the
sense.
song that we hear playing in the, like, even though we don't see him playing it, but it's the song playing. I believe it's in the final confrontation with Spike at the end of the episode.
Okay.
It's actually the same song that starts in the episode where Faye's introduced, where we hear her ship like start up, and then like the music starts playing with that beat.
Yeah.
It's actually that same song.
Oh wow. Okay.
So yeah, it's really cool, and that's why
Yeah.
I use that clip and that song of Faye's thing starting up in the opening credits to these videos, because it's fucking dope.
By the
So
way.
yeah, it's just that song on harmonica. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, the music for this episode is really great, and it's a show where music's important.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, the ship being called Bebop, it's called Bebop because Jet is a big fan of jazz, and in particular, bebop jazz. So, like,
That makes sense.
yeah, music's a big part of the show.
Yeah.
As for me, again, like, it's hard to pick because this is an episode that a lot of people don't talk about that much, but I fucking love it. So I'm going to say that my favorite thing out of it is really both the villain of the episode, because, again, the villain in this one, again, spoilers, guys.
Yeah.
He's a little boy who, when the original, like, gate for transporting, like, wormhole gate type thing exploded, and it looks like it was located on Earth's moon. That's what caused, like, all the asteroids to, like, be crashing into Earth all the time, and, like, it's never really explained to us, but it looks like some kind of, like, weird tachyon burst like fucked him up so that like his body is constantly producing melanin, even though Jet says that that's a theory, like, so no one actually knows, which again is cool. But again, like, he's just this kid who's just like, he's merciless and brutal and like,
yeah, it's the first one that definitely like held suspense.
Yeah.
Like, there was pressure, there was tension. I mean, obviously last episode did.
Yeah.
Episode 5, but like to the point where like it really did have like to me a climax, like
Yeah.
a turning point.
Right. And it had legitimate twists.
Yes.
Which
yeah.
when you're doing like, because again, this has a lot of sci-fi elements, but it still is a noir mystery, like a crime drama mystery episode.
Yeah.
And so to pull that off in 30 minutes and still be able to perform like good twists and stuff.
That almost feel like a part of an overall plot. But
Yeah.
they're not.
Right.
You know?
Like,
So.
but to be able to do that in 30 minutes, like, says a lot about the show. And yeah, the little kid villain is creepy. And I think more than anything else, like, what makes it so great is the final sequence between him and Spike. Like, I know I mentioned that in the music, they have that song that I love so much over it. But on top of that, just Spike is a badass in so many moments in this show, but the ending of this episode has to be him at like the pinnacle of badassery, where this kid, who's a good shot, by the way, and Spike just stands there as the kid just like unloads on him, missing him, and then like takes that badass fucking gun that they shaved the gem into a bullet for from the ring, and just boom. It's like just some of the most badass Spike Spiegel shit on the show. And it's only so badass because they've managed to make a villain who actually like provides enough tension and enough drama to make that moment that important.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because again, Spike doesn't know if it's going to kill him or not. So it's just kind of like... And then also the repeat of like the, do you understand? And then Spike's repeating the, yeah, as if.
Yeah. Yeah, which is like an ongoing theme throughout this episode.
Yeah.
That like...
So yeah, a lot of good stuff came out of the villain from this episode, and like it works a lot better than some of the other villain of the week villains they have, even in episodes that I would say are probably better episodes.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me it's definitely the villain and like the ripple effect of having him in this particular story.
Right.
So, I know it's hard, but
Yeah.
if you had to say, what do you think might have been a little lacking in this episode or wasn't quite up to the standard that we've seen so far?
like I'm a fan of like anime anyway, so like even bad ones, which this is by no means that it's hard to like even care, you know, like about little details that just drive you. So if I'm really trying to be a petty bitch, like probably a double-edged sword with the pacing, like as in pacing is good, obviously, because they pulled off so much in that one episode. But I would love to see more of that in like multiple episodes. Now, with that being said, with the kind of show it is, like I don't think multiple episodes for that one story would work.
No, they only have
like we didn't get much of the chick, or, you know, like that. I feel like they could have pulled a lot more into that, but then, you know,
and at the same time, I'm like, yeah, they could definitely have done it as like a two-parter or something, and that would have been cool, but like the episode plays, and I'd much prefer have like an episode that makes me want more, as opposed to like two of them where like they kind of stretch it a little bit thin.
I've only seen 6 episodes so far, so like I'm sure I'm gonna have plenty of those coming up to deal with. Just meant like I'm gonna have more episodes that I'm like, oh man, like that.
Oh yeah, like there should have been more of that. Yeah, okay, there will be more of those for sure. Definitely. As for me, like I said, it's tough.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say that Faye is too much of a bitch in this episode.
Yeah, like I wanted to see more of her just because of the redemption from being a total bitch
to a dog,
to a corgi,
to a dog, man. like make her a bitch to like
also
the
disgusting,
guys.
Because like it seemed like she pulled out dog food.
Oh no,
like
she did. That is, it's dog food.
Yeah.
It's the only thing in the fridge, though.
Bitch.
It's the only thing in the fridge, so she eats it. But she only gets the idea to eat it after seeing that the dog sees it in there and wants it. And it's like,
although we get a payoff from like the dog's reaction.
Yeah, I mean, like
she opens it and he's like,
oh no, yeah, don't get me wrong. It is a totally well scripted,
like well done,
well executed moment that legitimately makes you laugh and doesn't actually make you hate Faye.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking for something to complain about, like intentionally being a bitch to a dog just because you can, is fucked up. But it also does play into a lot of the themes of her character. And the development of her character.
Also later when Spike gives her the invoice.
Or like, Jet gives her the invoice.
And it's like, here, you owe us this amount of money. It's like, bitch!
Right,
like,
karma.
Yeah.
Instant karma.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like, I love Faye, and like, her bitchiness is fine, but like, man, it's like, they really wanted to firmly establish with that moment. It's like, no, she's a bitch. So in this episode, we got to see a good bit more on like all the different characters. We got a little bit more into Spike's background through the dream sequence. Got to see Jet do his chameleon thing. Got to see Faye be a total bitch. You know, we got to know all of our characters a little bit more, and we got to see like another layer of the world of Bebop. So based on that, do you have any predictions about where the shows or characters are going, or also is there anything you'd like to see from the characters?
Like, plot-wise, I feel like we didn't have a whole lot of, like, just more reinforcement of, like, these guys get shitted on a lot.
Yeah.
But ends up in really cool adventures. Thoughts, like, Spike's a cyborg. We just don't know it yet, for fuck sure. And then, I'm always entertained by Jet. Like, he's a solid character. I do want to see more of Faye. Like, we don't...
Yeah.
We haven't... I mean, granted, she's the new kid on the block on the team, like, but really, like, 3 episodes now, and we haven't really done much with her.
Well, I mean, this is the first time she's officially a part of the crew.
Right, yeah.
The next episode starts actually integrating her into the crew so that by the time we meet Edward, Faye is officially, like, feels like part of the Bebop family.
Okay, cool.
That way we don't have, like, 2 characters who are, like, the new character.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure them out.
Now we got this scrub on the team.
Right, you know. So, yeah, and in terms of the cyborg thing, like, it's important also to note, though, that, like, Jet does have a robotic arm and has like robotic stuff, so in the world that they're living in, cyborgs are kind of commonplace, even though they have the technology to completely regrow limbs.
Super soldier then. Cyborg super soldier.
Fair.
Fuck. Jet's that already. Damn it.
Damn, that blues harp sounds sweet. I knew it would.
I thought you liked jazz.
Don't be dense. I started wheeling the blues when the doctor whacked my bottom on the day I was born.
A baby hipster, very cool.
Right on, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining us for this installment of Carry That Weight, the Cowboy Bebop Retrospective.
Later.
If you like this video, please leave a like and share it with some friends. Also, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit that little bell so you can get updates on all the dope content we'll have coming out in the future. Also, guys, if you'd like to follow me on Instagram or Twitter, I will have the links for that in the description below. Thank you very much, children of the screen. We hope you all have a good night. Nerd Scum, out.
Allez, à bientôt. See you next time. Good night.
The real blues 本当の悲しみが知りたいだけ泥の川に使う